Hey guys and girls, it's Blackjack with 396 Guitars. We are here with another Les Paul Standard on the bench, a different one. This guy is a touring musician. He's been in a lot of bands, and actually him and I are going to be working together soon, I hope. He bought this guitar and he got a really good deal on it, so we're going to dive deep into it, and I'm going to show you in a moment a couple of his requests. But it's a really nice Les Paul Standard. I ran the numbers on it. It's a real guitar. It's a 2010, we believe, based on the serial numbers and the way we ran it. He wants to put some goodies into it, so let's get to work and talk about it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. We are doing what I would consider the full Monty on this guitar. He bought it, like I said, from an online garage sale. I ran the numbers on it. It's got a little, it is what it is. I mean, it's a real deal Gibson Les Paul Standard. It is a honkin' heavy guitar, but that's what they are. He plays in half step, which is what we play in our band, and that's where he's going to be working with us soon, I hope. So I have it tuned there. It wasn't tuned there when I got it, but I tuned it there, and then we're going to check some measurements first. Before we get to there, I know I measured with my digital caliper to see what's on it when he bought it. And they are 10s. So he wants to put 11s on there. He says he bends a lot, and the way he plays, that's what he wants. He brought these strings to me. This is what he's using. Really, really good strings. I'm glad to see that he uses Ernie Ball. I use Ernie Ball. I've never put those on a customer's guitar, but I'm not afraid. We will set up the neck relief and every adjustment according to detuning half step down, which is E flat, or you can call it concert tuning, whatever you want to call it, to accept the 11s, which are going to put a little more tension on the neck, so that's probably going to need to be adjusted. And of course, Tune-o-matics, I love them. I showed him one thing while he was here, just while I was looking at the guitar. And he says, I keep breaking the high E string. I've only been putzing around with it and can't get a paper under there. Every other string is okay. I've never seen that, but that's an easy fix. You bring your stop bar up. Remember, you want to be able to put a piece of paper underneath these strings. I think this stop bar needs to come up, and I think this one needs to go down because there's too much space. But that's all part of the setup. He's getting a full cleanup, a full restring and setup. So we're going to do all of that. Today we're going to de-string and get started with the cleanup. I'm not going to film all the cleanup. This guitar, oh, by the way, too, he wants to put in some new Seymour Duncans because these are nondescript and I haven't opened them up. I don't know what they are. I know this one is put in backwards. Allenco 2 Pro Seymour Duncans. I know these are good pickups. Not 100% sure they are the right pickups for this guitar because he has push-pulls to split the coils in here. Now he mentioned that it doesn't really sound like it makes that much of a difference. It's possible that they're not wired right. I don't know until I get in there, but I was looking at Seymour Duncan. I use it in all my basses, and great product. I use quarter pounders in my basses. There's a lot of different ways for those Les Paul perverts out there to wire a Les Paul. A million different ways, depending on what you want. So I'm going to open up, I'm going to de-string it, we're going to clean it, I'm going to open up the back cavity and see if these are even the right pickups for this. I'm sure we can make them work depending on what he wants and how he wants his instrument to play. I got to mention, he literally stole this guitar. If I told you what he paid for this guitar, every Les Paul guy out there is going to have a stroke, but it was very little. I'll leave it at that. Stand by. I'm going to de-string it. Well, before we do that, let's at least take some baseline measurements detuned. I checked the measurements in the electronics yesterday when he brought it in after he left, just to get acquainted with the guitar, but that was in 440 pitch. So today I detuned it, and we're gonna check and see. Where's my favorite 12 thousandths? Capo at the first fret. Am I in the movie? Yes. Capo at the first fret. Grab the body joint. Let's see where our relief is. It seems a little loose. In fact, it is. So I detuned it down, and from 440, and the less string tension, the relaxed string tension, tuning it down a half a step, has probably let that neck relax too much. That's easily adjustable. I did check this. It's working fine. Point of note, I used a fret rocker and went up and down the board, and I found a couple of weird spots, and I am going to do that again when we're completely finished, or maybe after I get the strings off and get it in a relaxed state. I'm under the time gun here. We're getting together in the studio. Today is Thursday. We're getting together on Saturday, and he wants to play this instrument. I'm not sure with the amount of work that I have to do that it will be ready, but that's what I'm shooting for. Oh, another point of note. Somebody got this right. All of the intonation screws are pointing towards the stop bar. All of the saddles are beveled in the correct direction. Referred to my last Les Paul standard, which I have lost sleep over because the A and the E were not. They were backwards. And the intonation screws were facing towards the pickup, which I hate. Okay, so stand by. I'm going to de-string it, and then we're going to start cleaning it up. And then to finish this video, we're going to flip it over and look at some of the electronics. Oh, and by the way, I don't think this was born with Grover tuners, but somebody put them on there, and they're really nice. Very nice upgrade. Not that the Gibson ones are bad, but these Grovers are actually nice. I like them. They're big. They got a feel to them, and they're very sensitive. Stand by momentarily. Okay, I'm back really quickly. We have de-strung it. I took the stop bar and the bridge assembly off. They're just sitting there. I'm going to wipe them down and clean them up. I'm also going to clean up the whole guitar. But first and foremost, I forgot to mention, like I said, when I was doing the fret rocker, I made some marks on a couple of these frets. And of course, they wipe right off. But I made a mark on a couple of them. This one, which means they were rocking on that fret, and I think one down here that I already wiped off. What I'm going to start with is fret eraser, because they are a little grungy, and some of them don't look like they were crowned properly. But I'm going to start with the fret eraser and get them cleaned, and then we'll worry about spot leveling or crowning later if I feel that it is necessary, if we're getting some buzzing or anything like that. None of the rocking frets were past what I felt was, wow, damn, that's a problem, because they were very, very slight. So we're just going to start with the fret erasers to do this first. And you've seen this exercise. I'm only going to show the first couple. Oh, these are jumbos. I think I might need the next size bigger. Oh yeah, that was a little too small. It's got jumbo frets on it, that's for sure. I'm sorry, talking to myself, not to you guys. I apologize. And I wish you know, they say if you talk to yourself, you either got a lot of money in the bank or you're crazy. And unfortunately, I think I'm crazy. So we start with 180, which is the harshest. And that's actually going to take some of the tarnish, finger marks, DNA, crapola off of there. And yep, I got to do them all. So I am not going to film that. But you start at the 180, which is the harshest one. The smaller the number, the more aggressive it is. And it goes from 180 to 400 to 1,000. So I'm actually going to, I'm dressing the frets right now. I'm not doing anything more than that. I may have to go into spot leveling and recrowning. I see a couple that they just don't look right. Like they weren't crowned properly. Like somebody tried to do a fret leveling and didn't crown them right. But we're going to try this first and see where it leads us. So I'm going to pause while I finish this portion of it, and then I'll be back. Stand by. So there's a reason why I don't show you every step of the way, but I told you 180, 400, and you got to do every fret, and it's tedious, and your fingers hurt after you're done. But man, somebody tried to do a fret leveling job on this, and they didn't finish it, and I just don't understand that. The finish is what you're going to feel when you're playing. So I saved the last 7 or 8 frets here to show you. You got to do them all. And you start with 180, you move to 400. I am now on the 1000 grit. So we're just finishing up. I'm going to show you the last few here. I've got the neck in a straight condition. I love fret erasers. I don't like putting power tools on fret wires to polish them. That's the old way to do it. Sometimes I will use a fret I'm sorry, I'm having a brain fart. Music Nomad product to polish frets, but these are polishing up nicely after the 3-step fret eraser. I'm hoping that'll be good enough. As I said, someone I can tell tried to do a fret leveling job on it at some point in its life, and it didn't finish it. Some of them weren't even crowned correctly. I think we're going to be okay, though. As I said, I did do a fret rocker on it on my initial checkout, and I found some that were a little wonky, but when I say a little, I mean a little. It should not, once we do the full setup in this guitar, they're not enough for me to go, at this juncture, I don't think it's enough for me to go, I want to do another fret leveling on it. I don't think it's going to need that. And I don't like to do fret leveling unless it's absolutely necessary, because you're taking some of the fret material off. And by extension, you're shortening the fret wire's life. And let's face it, they live in a pretty odd environment where things are constantly grinding on them as it is. So I did put the neck in a straight condition. We're going to clean it up now. I'm going to vacuum up all the fret eraser goo, and then we're going to clean the fretboard and treat it. I'm not going to show you that. You've seen it too many times. Moving forward, I'm trying to do shorter videos based on some comments, but it's hard to put all this work that goes into, giving a guitar the love that it needs in 20 minutes. That's not reality. So stand by. I'm going to do my cleanup on it, and then we're going to get back and start investigating our /Seymour Duncan /Alan Coase. Stand by.